Hi guys, this is a redirect to my reaction to Avatar The Last Airbender Season 3 episodes 18, 19, 20 and 21. I am really sad that this is the end of Avatar. I will be reacting to Legend of Korra, but I'm just sad that it's ended. There were only 3 seasons in this series and I just absolutely loved it. This is one of the best series that I've ever seen, and that's saying something. Like, I enjoy this way more than I did with Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is good, but this is just amazing. I absolutely enjoyed it. Like, I mean, there's a few critiques that I'm gonna say in the review, so I'm gonna make a separate review on what I overall thought of Avatar. So just in this redirect, I'll just be talking about these last 4 episodes. So what happened in these last 4 episodes? Shit went down, basically. So Aang, he was like getting trained by Zuko. Zuko was very like persistent, making sure that he gets properly trained. He was very worried for him, but the others were a lot more laid back and carefree about it, even though there was like 3 days till the sozin'scomet. Which is a time when Ozai is gonna fight Aang. Yeah, and Aang, he was initially planning to not fight Ozai in the sozin'scomet. So Zuko got the misunderstanding that he was going to fight him in the sozin'scomet, but the initial plan was that he's gonna postpone the fight. But he couldn't do that. So because Zuko informed him that actually Ozai, when Zuko was still a part of the Fire Nation, he was part of the war meeting, and in the war meeting Ozai was planning to destroy one of my tenses was planning to destroy all of the Earth Kingdom and become literally the ruler of the world. So not just like ruling the Fire Nation, but ruling the whole entire world and destroying the Earth Kingdom, destroying the homes. That's his plan. So that's what Zuko informed all of them. Aang was very anxious after hearing that, so he had to train. He had to stop him now as opposed to postponing it. You can't postpone the fight because then Ozai would have already destroyed the Earth Kingdom, and we don't want that to happen. So, yeah, so much pressure on Aang, and I believed in him. I obviously knew that he was definitely going to win anyway, regardless of what happened, but I was just like concerned about like whether he was going to get wounds or like, I don't know. Oh, we didn't really get to see what actually happened to Azula afterwards, but we did see that she did get imprisoned. She was bound up by Katara. Oh my god, Azula. Where do I begin with Azula? She got mental. She became so mental. So in the previous episodes, we saw that May entirely betrayed Azula, but like they have every right to like, stand up for themselves, because you weren't really the best person, and you were just such a immoral person, and they didn't want to support someone who's so bitchy basically and evil, so evil. So May entirely, they stopped being on Azula's side, on the Fire Nation side, which actually made Azula even more crazy than she was already. She was already just really evil, but she became deranged after that, because that was like the last trigger, because she just keeps thinking that everyone's betrayed her, so she's lost trust in everyone. So when I was like, when I was reacting to the scene where she got really angry at one of the servants for not picking off the pits of the cherries that she was eating, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to banish her just because she didn't take away the seeds of a cherry? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that pissed me off. Like, the way she mistreats the servants, it's always annoyed me. Like, it's just typical princess entitlement, typical princess behavior. She's such a stereotypical evil type of character. Like, she's just so one-dimensional. But we did see a side of her that I just felt really sorry for, actually. So I'm quite surprised that it was this late that we saw like a different side to her. Um, I mean, there was a little bit of a hint before in the sense that she's not close to her mum, and I was like getting the feeling that because her mum didn't like wasn't really that close to her, she became more like her dad because her mum wasn't that part that hadn't had a huge influence in her life, which is why she was so influenced by her dad instead. So Zuko, he seemed very influenced by his mother and his uncle as opposed to his father. But for Azula, it's the other way around. She was more influenced by her father as opposed to her mother or her uncle. So it's just a mix of bad parenting as well as like just the values all around you. Like, you have to be this evil person all the time, and that's just really fucked her up so much. So it's just really sad as well. Still, like, it's not like a total excuse. Like, you really shouldn't, treat people like that anyway, regardless. But I hope she gets the help that she needs to for her derangeness. I don't know if it's even gonna help. I don't know if it's even possible to help someone like her. But I hope she gets the help. I don't know. I mean, she's not dead, so you might as well. Because the thing is, if you just imprison her, she's just gonna become a really depressed or deranged person. At least if she gets some help, she might improve a bit. Maybe. I'm just going on a maybe here. I don't know for sure whether her mental health is gonna improve, because you can't actually fix a psychopath. A psychopath is genetic. And I do classify Ozai and Azula as actual psychopaths. But just like make them a bit more tame as opposed to aggravate them. So yeah, I'm just glad that Zuko didn't become like her and like kill her off or something and become really ruthless, because it's going to contradict your whole idea of wanting peace. So okay, fair enough to both Aang and Zuko for not killing them, even though they're really bad people. But at least they'll get life imprisonment, and hopefully they get to do some community service or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, the battle between Ozai and Aang. Wow. God, man, that's one of the best fights I have ever seen in any animated show. I won't say anime because I know you guys don't like it when I call Avatar an anime because it's a cartoon, so I'm just gonna say an animated show. So for animated shows, that's one of the best fights I've ever seen. And the fight between Azula and Zuko on who is to become the Fire Lord. So that's another thing. Ozai wanted Azula to become the Fire Lord, and he can become the supreme ruler of the whole entire world. So that's the gift that he wanted to give Azula. And Zuko objected just as she was about to be coronated as the new Fire Lord. He came in to challenge that and say, I'm going to become the Fire Lord. Because they found, so basically the crew, Aang's crew, they found Iroh and the other old men. Oh, they say are absolute badasses. I'm so glad we saw them again. Bumi, the original firebender that taught Aang, and Paku, and Sokka's master, I forgot what his name was, but they're all awesome badass old men. And yeah, it was amazing seeing them. And Iroh told Zuko that the only way to restore peace in the Fire Nation is for Zuko to become the Fire Lord. So Zuko listened to that and he challenged Azula to a Azula actually challenged him to a duel, and whoever wins becomes the Fire Lord. And man, Azula is such a trickster. Zuko knew immediately that something went wrong in Azula because she looks mad, she looked deranged. Her facial expressions, like, I absolutely love the choreography and the animation in these episodes. It was just top notch. Like, the facial expressions that she had, she looked so deranged. She actually reminded me of Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. Bellatrix was absolutely crazy. Like, she was so, like, she was nuts. Compared to Voldemort, like, Bellatrix was so, like, she was so screwed in the head. So I like that dynamic, that those really crazy deranged villains. But then again, I felt, compared to Bellatrix, I didn't feel any, there's no remorse that I felt for Bellatrix. But when it came to Azula, I felt really sorry for her, actually. That it came to a point where people have, like, betrayed you so much that it's made you even more, it's basically like, how do I say this? It made you emotionally unstable. It made you not yourself anymore. It made you go crazy because of that. Like, she banished the whole earthbending, oh, what were they called? The Ba Sing Se guards. She banished all of them, and she banished the servants because she was like, oh, I can't trust any of them. I can't trust anybody. And I'm like, so who's gonna protect you when you become a Fire Lord, man? Yes. Anyway, enough about her. Some questions are that where exactly is Zuko's mother? That's what Zuko asked Ozai right at the end. And I guess Aang and Katara are actually together now, so that's good. And Zuko and Mei are together, and Sokka and Suki, come on, are together. I feel a bit sorry for Toph because she's not with anyone, but, like, then again, like, you don't have to, like, have a romantic partner. Anyway, she's an independent person, so that's all very good. It's good to be independent as well. Anyway, damn, the way that Aang ended that fight with Ozai, he actually stripped Ozai of his firepower, and it was amazing. Like, he, like, touched him in the forehead and took his power out of him. That was amazing. I was thinking it right at the beginning. The other ways of defeating Ozai is to strip him of his power, but I didn't know if it was even possible to do that. So I was like, you can either do that or just bind him for life imprisonment. So I really thought that he was just going to bind him in life imprisonment, and that actually did happen. But also, he is powerless. He has no firebending power now. So I was really glad about that. I was shocked as well because I didn't know that Aang could do that. But apparently the lion turtle gave him that advice. I didn't quite understand what the lion turtle was saying because their voice was very mumbly. But, like, he was, like, touching him in the forehead, and like all this light was coming out of him, and so the power was gone from him. Yeah, so that was amazing to see. Yeah, just, oh man, I'm gonna miss this series. I'm actually quite mad at you guys. Why did you not recommend me this before Hunter x Hunter? I would have loved to have seen this before. It's only now that I'm reacting to the series. But I am glad that I've finally now reacted and finished this series. So, by the way, I'm going to make a separate review on Avatar in the next week at some point. So, when I mean a separate review on Avatar, I mean like the whole entire series. I'm not an analytical person, so don't expect me to be like so in-depth and long in my speech, but like I'll just pick out like my favourite episodes from each season and my favorite moments and what I didn't like as well, because I want to like critique it a bit as well. I do have a few criticisms regarding the series, but overall though I absolutely loved it, and I can't recommend it enough. So yeah, amazing, an amazing journey. And I want to thank you all for sticking with me and being patient with me, because it was like I had to like make a few delays every now and then. And I will be reacting to Legend of Korra, so the journey does not stop here. I will definitely react to Legend of Korra, but in 2 weeks time, because next week I'll be doing reviews to Avatar and One Piece's Fishman Island arc. So do look forward to that next week and stay tuned for more.